I'm looking forward to this. This should be a good treat. So I believe we are about ready to start with the first map. So Magno, would you like to run us through this one?
All right, first map is called F-Ken. I think I pronounced that right. It's mapped by U68, the #1 player in the world. Difficulty Inner Oni, and now, objectively, it doesn't look like the most difficult of maps. Like, we've seen much harder than this, until you realize that the OD is actually OD 10, and it's also HP 10 as well. So missing on this map is going to be incredibly unforgiving. Like, you miss 30 nodes and you fail. So you cannot afford to miss in the map. Like, you can see the map is a quarter of the way through, and like the player, whoever it may be, hasn't even got in like a third of HP. Like, it's genuinely ridiculous. And some of this low SV reading can be quite tricky, I would say.
Going back to the whole missing 30 notes and you fail, what's the HP like? Does the HP, like, I think the HP was 10, didn't you?
Yeah, it's 10.
Yeah, so I imagine it'd be pretty hard to then recover if you do fail like halfway through the map.
Yeah, I mean, you can afford to miss maybe like roughly 30 notes, like given the length of the map. So OD 10, HP 10, 126 BPM, truly a nightmare.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much we're gonna see that hit.
Hopefully a lot.
Ever the evil one.
Yeah,
hey man, I'm not a player, sir.
But then, looking ahead, this may well be one of the more common picks, actually, considering...
Yeah, based on the rest of the pool, I see where you're coming from with that, actually.
Yeah, I mean, OD 10 is not something entirely foreign to players. I mean, players in Hard Rock can play OD 9.8, so OD 10 isn't that far off, although the low SV may throw some people off.
Yeah, managing the lower BPM, I think, on that will be the main challenge.
This reminds me of Spider Dance in round of 16, but taken to a whole new level with HP 10 and OD 10. But yeah.
Finals map pool, learn to love them.
All right, and we're now moving on to the next map, which is Kawatori. I think I said that right. Yeah, Kawatori,
right.
Mapped by Nyan. Difficulty is Inner Oni. So, Arif, what would you like to say about this map?
Well, this one is a bit different. I mean, when you talk about 1/6, and especially in regards to the finals map pool, this map should really be what comes into your mind, because it's got a lot of technical streams that change from 1/6 to 1/4 pretty rapidly. And another thing worth mentioning is that not just the alternative patterning, but it's also a rather aged map. It's actually way back from 2010, so nearly a decade old at this point. And, well, you could say it's about as old as our map selectors themselves.
Yeah, I can see a couple dense streams and a lot of SV gimmicks. Well, not that many, but quite a few. And some unusual snappings as well.
Yeah,
Beyond that, there's nothing much more to say about the map, really, because, well, as far as I can see, there are some really dense sections, though, with really awkward 1/6 snappings, but that's about it. Oh, and there's this one section here, incredibly dense snappings. I don't know. Like, this is unsight readable, I would say.
I don't know, having a sight-readable map in the finals map pool seems a bit of an oxymoron to me, but... yeah,
a lot of weird finishers. So this is probably like, what's the BPM on this? This is 160 BPM, but with the 1/8 snapping, it's pretty much 320 BPM at low FV, so this map is a nightmare. Yeah.
Basically, we hope we'll see quite a lot of it in the upcoming week.
Yeah, I definitely put this as harder than the map we saw earlier.
Right, moving on from that, we see our third map, which is, I believe, Shippuu Jinrai. I hope I said that correctly. This is mapped by Yasu, and it is Osamix's... Oh, it's actually one of the guest difficulties. Osamix's Inner Oni, so it's mapped by Osamix. And what do you think about this one, Magna?
So, clocks in at an SR of 7.59. What else to say about this? I mean, judging from how the song is going, it seems to be not the fastest of maps, but I can see some really...
180 BPM, I think.
Yeah, 180 BPM, roughly. It is 180 BPM, I just checked.
Oh, alright, brilliant.
So, seems to be a fairly normal map, but given that it's 7.6 stars, I can definitely see some really heavy use of 1/6 plus 1/4 patterns with a lot of depth streams. And we do see our first 1/6 burst there. Judging from what I can see right now, I can see this definitely being one of the more common picks by teams, since it seems to be the only thing that's playable so far.
Yeah, that's definitely fair enough. I can see where you're coming from with that. It is definitely not as intense as either of the two Carolabo maps that we've seen so far.
Yeah, but a lot of 1/6 interlaced in the stream, but not too dense, because it's only 180 BPM, so this seems fairly manageable, and I believe it is certainly one of the easier picks we've seen, well, thus far. Heck, I would even say some no-mod picks in the previous bracket were actually easier. I mean, harder.
You think so?
Yeah.
So this was basically concludes our generic pick for the no-mod pool, then, if there is such a thing.
But not to undersell its difficulty, this is still a very, very challenging map with high-density sections.
Moving on then, onto our fourth map, which should be familiar to anyone who follows the OAK standard technical map scene. We have Dopamine, mapped by Sand.
Now this map I know quite well. So it is definitely passable. It's not too difficult. In the beginning of the song and the end of the song are fairly easy. What is tricky is the middle of the song, which features a very low SV section that is very hard to read and very complex patterns, very dense. And already we can see some use of SV gimmicks, which definitely will require some practice.
Yeah, based on what I know about the song, I can definitely see this being a sort of gimmicky technical pick. And if what you say about the middle section is true, we could be looking at the slow jam from hell, essentially.
Oh yeah, it's very tricky. And we're lining up for that right now.
Beautiful.
I'd say this map is easier on hard rock, coming from a player who never touches hard rock.
Which is why they put it in the no-mod bracket. Gotta love us for that.
It would have been even worse if it was hidden.
Oh, I don't think they're not that mean, at least. Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah, not yet. I love how we had the same thought there.
I wonder who was playing this.
Maybe Ikoro?
Yeah, possibly. His playstyle seems to be that of Ikoro. Yeah. But beyond that, there's not much else to say about this map. Yeah, the main difficulty of this map lies in the very beginning section.
So now we move on to our next map, which is the 5th one so far in the No Mod pool. It is Pacific Girls by DJ Sharpnel, and it's another Osamix map that we see, like Shipun Jinrai. This one is about 8.3 stars and is actually the longest map so far, and I believe in the entire finals map pool, this is actually the longest map, clocking in at around 195 BPM with 5 minutes and 15 seconds of beautiful drum notes.
So apparently in this map, there's going to be a very, very large stream. So it's going to test consistency, focus, and accuracy, and stamina.
What more could one want?
But so far the map seems rather tame, although I'm certain there's a reason why the star rating is as it is.
Yeah, it'll probably amp up in difficulty in just one section just to screw with you. It is quite a long map, so plenty of time for that to happen.
But so far it seems fairly tame.
Yeah, not the worst in terms of challenging patterns, at least, from what I can see.
We do see a hand switch there, though. A 1-6 in there, so that might throw some players off. Oh, and like we do see some really complicated patterns here. So that might be a source for note locking if players miss there, and it could just completely ruin a run. How long does the stream go on for?
It just never ends, does it?
It is not finished! It's not finished! It's still going on! What is this?
It's just one long stream from beginning to end, like a practice map. Oh, goodness gracious.
Oh yeah, and to add insult to injury, the HP is HP 7.8, so it's fairly high up there, and like, given the number of notes in this, if you miss like 50 notes or so, you fail.
I was gonna say, like, I would hate to note lock in this.
Yeah, right? Just imagine you screw up one section, getting it back.
Yeah, like, if you note lock in this and you can't get out, you are in massive trouble.
Hey, a break! Yeah, but if you note lock, you fail. Like, as in, you cannot afford to miss in this map, because simply HP is so high for such a long map.
Yeah, at 5 minutes, I think that's cool. The amount of stamina and precision required to be able to get through this is... Yeah.
Fortunately, the HP is... the OD is above 7. So, note locking doesn't seem to be quite possible, I would say.
Well, not probable, at least, but players find a way, in my experience. Still, it was kind of them to consider that, at least.
I've never heard of this player before, KTTK Yumi.
Maybe it's a pseudonym. It's so strange for me to see DJ Sharpnel and not see 4K Mania on stream. Can't tell you how weird this makes me feel.
There's a lot of so far we've seen 2 very strong single color bursts.
Yeah.
Mono streams, and that will definitely pose a trouble for some KKDD or DDKK players who might have an advantage in this style of map, given that well, some of the interlaced streams. Also, this particular pattern would definitely inflate SR.
I mean, I don't know if anyone really has any sort of advantage on this map unless you just eat your veggies and you've got really thick fingers. Because it's just one long stamina test from start to end.
Yeah, and it's not just like there's one hard section as well. There's multiple bursts spread throughout the map.
Right? Exactly.
I can honestly see people failing this map simply because of high HP and no lock.
I wonder if this is going to get banned a lot.
I still feel that they might save their bans for some of the other picks.
I guess we'll have to see what the other ones are, but I mean, like, I don't know how many people would want to play something that stamina taxing.
Yeah, if anything, it would be a sort of last-ditch attempt, and even then, just imagine playing it at the end of a match where you've already played like 9 or 8 maps already. Oh.
The other option that people could potentially... Didn't we see this story as a warm-up?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I think our map selectors were laughing to themselves while they watched it, because guess what? AQ Children Reincarnation is our last no-mod pick for the finals map pool. If you were around to
the
watch.
highest, yeah.
Going back to the last map, there is also the counter idea where teams who are more stamina confident on themselves could also pick it as a first pick and an attempt to try wear the other team out.
I guess you have a point there as well. But I just can't see why starting with a 5-minute stamina marathon would be a good idea under any respect, even if you were confident in your own stamina.
I don't know, I mean, there's also frontline games that the players go through, so I mean, I'm sure someone will come up with a reason to do it. But I think now we can appreciate the fact that someone actually picked one of the final map pools as a warm-up.
Yeah, that was interesting. For those of you who were around having to see this as a warm-up just about an hour and a half ago, they did actually play this. So Magnumizer said a few things about this map at that time, and he mentioned that he didn't know many people who could pass it. So for those of you who are watching, we did see, I think, 3 out of 6, or maybe even 4 out of 6 people fail on this map. So that alone should give you an idea of what it's like. It's not an easy map to pass by any means. There's a lot of 1/6, 1/4 mixed up with finishers, and just a lot of nonsense you don't want your fingers to die on.
If I remember correctly, I believe South Korea picked this?
Sounds about right.
No, I believe it was the match between Germany and Chile.
Oh, okay.
It was definitely a match between Germany and Chile because Zay passed and Oki passed.
Ah, okay, so yeah.
Oh yeah, alright. Yeah, you can
yeah, but beyond that, there's not much to say about this map. It's got just really high density, really tricky 260 BPM streams. Yeah, it's honestly a nightmare.
There is one thing we can say about this map, though.
Suicide Tape?
T-Pazolite.
Good old T-Pazolite.
And we do see a K-spam here. We just passed the K-spam, and that's gonna pose trouble for DDKK players all around.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're seeing quite a bit of T-Paz like this World Cup, so I'm actually not surprised that we're seeing more of it.
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned how...
I'm actually curious if there's been any more T-Paz like stuff, because I haven't actually looked down the list yet, so...
Well, I won't spoil it for you if you haven't looked down it yet.
Thank you. That means so much.
Just as a quick side note, this is, I believe, the highest star rating in the map pool so far. So at 8.7 stars. Good luck.
I do believe the star rating will be both beaten by one of the double time picks, maybe.
True. I believe once we apply double time, there may be a couple that go up beyond that 8.7 star.
It's not the highest.
But,
it's not the highest. There is a hard rock pick that goes even higher than this.
Yes, we'll get to that. I'm sure you guys will appreciate the sounds of that song once we get there as well. But for now, we move on to the hidden bracket, and we start off straight with breakcore. Good old Goreshit is back with Boiler, mapped by U68, the only difficulty. And this map is around 5.19 stars, which may seem a bit low, but remember, this is a hidden pick, so there's probably some more going on behind the scenes there than just what it appears on the surface.
Slow SV, generally a nightmare for all hidden players.
Yeah, and given that it's breakcore, I'm just expecting that we're going to see a lot of 1-6, 1-8 snapping, that kind of thing. Just really mean stuff to read with hidden.
So this is 140 BPM. Pretty much like the lowest you can go for a hidden without it being like pretty much like damn near impossible.
Yeah.
Well, for the majority of people at least. Yeah, it does feature, it's only 140 BPM, but it features some 1/8 snaps. So very tricky pick. But I can see this being one of the more common picks actually, since technically it's not very demanding.
Yeah, it's not as difficult, so to speak, as maybe some of the no mods we've seen. I could also see this being picked a bit more, especially than some of the other maps we've seen so far.
Yeah, but other than the low SV, I wouldn't say there's too much to say about this map. It does have some tricky technical snappings, but beyond that, it's more of a reading challenge.
Just a quick bit of trivia for any of you smarts out there. A different Goreshit map, Life is a Melody, was also considered for the hidden pool, so I see a couple people talking about that in chat. You weren't far off the mark there, good job. But in the end, they did decide to go with this one.
It is kind of cool that some of the players are actually close with their predictions.
Yeah, I mean, it's unpredictability is one thing, it's pretty good, but it's also good to see that players' expectations are met in a certain way, because they do know what they want, I guess, from a certain point of view.
It was played by Iroha.
Outside of the box with standardized picks.
That map was played by Roha, so... Anyway, moving on. So both these maps were played by Roha. Now this next map, Calculator, is actually a fairly old map, to the best of my knowledge. It's actually one of the official Taiko Tatsujin maps. It was mapped in 2013. Let me just say that this map features the extremes of hidden. Starts off at a fairly low BPM of 166, featuring some really complicated snapping. But at the end, it ramps up all the way to 287 BPM, I believe.
300 BPM even, wow.
Oh, not 287. Apologies, it is 300. Huh. Maybe I remembered it wrong. Thought it was 287.
Either way, that's still pretty high BPM to read, especially on hidden. I don't know if this is going to be picked as much.
I can see some really capable hidden players. Like, this map is a challenge on its own with no mod, but with hidden, it's just a whole new level. There was a speed up section towards the end of the map, and that's when we ramp up to 300 BPM. Some really dense streams, frankly quite ridiculous, I would say. But yeah, very a test of all the different difficult facets of the hidden mod, the difficulties that come with the hidden mod.
Yeah, some of the snapping, especially near the end.
This is not readable.
Oh, geez, that 1/6 or 1/8, whatever it is with the hidden mod is just, oh, that's evil. But I believe that does conclude the hidden picks. So now we will move on to hard rock. And we meet our old friend DJ Sharpville, but this time with a hard rock map, not no mod. The song is Marunochi Survivor, and this is one of Ono's maps actually, so some of you might know it. Well, no mod it clocks in around 5.9 stars, but with hard rock I assume that goes up a bit. I'm not sure exactly by how much though.
Pardon?
Sorry, I was just mentioning the star rating.
Star rating does not change. Star rating never changes with mods, except for double time. It's not like standard.
Right. I forgot it's hard rock, not double time. My bad.
Yeah, but this map is OD7. This map is OD7 with hard rock, ramps up all the way to OD 9.8. Truly an accuracy challenge. Now, it's listed that the BPM is 200, but it has an increased SV. I believe the SV is 1.4 times, so it's made much harder than it already is.
That's a really high SP, especially with hard rock. Oh my goodness.
Patterns aren't very hard, but HP is HP 10, so like an earlier no mod map, missing here can be very brutal. And it's even possible to fail the map if you don't get enough accuracy.
So basically both the DJ Sharpville maps so far having high HP values resulting in possible fails.
Yeah. Not much to add to this map, really. I mean, it's not the most tricky of maps, but SV is very high.
Yeah, SV and HP I think are going to be the primary considerations when it comes to this pick. I could see it being picked, though. Like, I wouldn't see this being one of those, oh god, we need to stay away from this one. I'd say the song title is appropriate, though, considering the HP value of 10. That's the goal, survive.
All right. So, looks like we're moving on to the next hard rock pick, and that is Freedom Dive, map by Sayaka. The map set's by Ikoro, but it's a guess difficulty. EX's ultimate challenge. I wonder who played this.
It's difficult to tell, but I see some people asking about the highest star rating. We mentioned that one of the hard rock maps beat out the record from AQ Children, and this is it. Freedom Dive at 8.77 stars. Clocks over the previous map and holds the star rating record, I think, for now. Double time might change that, but we'll get there. So for those of you who know this map from standard, it's 222 BPM, 222.22 actually, if I recall correctly. And it's another one of those very stream-heavy maps, as most Zai songs are wont to be. But again, like the previous HR map, the SP is a little bit high, and with the song being as long and stamina draining as it is, keeping up with that might be a bit of a challenge for the entire length of the map. Especially at the end where the slider velocity continues to increase until it becomes almost blinding. But we'll get to that.
Yeah, I mean, BPM is 222, as most Freedom Dive fans would know. With hard rock, that doubles the slider velocity, at least on widescreen. So Yeah, definitely incredibly tricky to read, and towards the end of the map, the SV increases even further, making this truly a reading challenge. And it also features a lot of 1/6 or 1/4 patterns, which does inflate the SR, but by no means are easy to hit.
The HP isn't as punishing on this, though. I believe it's 4 without Hard Rock.
Yeah, with Hard Rock, it's 5.6.
5.6, alright.
But yeah, we can see the increased SV at work here. I can't even read what's going on. Oh dear, this is going to be one hell of a map.
Yeah, for anybody curious, what you're seeing on your screen right now was played by Ikoro, just to give you an idea of what it takes to read this kind of SV and play it correctly. Well, I guess if you're confident enough with high slider velocity, I could see both of the Hard Rock maps actually being picked a decent amount in next week's matches.
I'd say this is definitely the harder of the two picks, though.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with you on that one. This is definitely harder with the length, the required stamina, and the SP being what it is.
Yeah, and the map is 4 minutes long, so it's quite tricky as well in that regard.
Yeah, Freedom doesn't really give you much of a break at any point. Especially not the end, oh boy.
And with that, we are now moving on to the double time map pool. Starting off, we have the Universal Ellicott map by Arrival. Cough cough, French mapper bias. But yeah, so it's a rather technical beat map. Clocking in at 255 BPM with double time. I'd say it doesn't seem to be very tricky. Like, honestly, I felt that Veritas from the previous pool was harder, in my opinion.
Well, Veritas was certainly no joke. I mean, looking at this map, yeah, I can see where you're coming from with that. It does have some doubles and some, quad patterns, this map, but yeah, I can see why you'd say Veritas is a bit trickier, especially with the snapping. I could see this one being picked quite a bit as well. Maybe not as evil as some of the other maps.
Overall difficulty is 6. So not too demanding in terms of accuracy. HP 5, not too bad either. The map does feature some use of SV though, so I mean, if players are not used to reading a higher than normal SV, they might struggle a bit. But beyond that, I think this is a rather suitable double time pick. Nothing too extreme.
Yeah, I think if you practice the map enough, the little increased SV wouldn't be as big of an obstacle, particularly if you can somewhat play the map properly to begin with. It wouldn't be that straining on your eyes or your fingers. Not an easy map to play by any means, but not the worst either.
I have to say though, the song itself is quite long. It's 4 minutes without double time. With double time, that's just under 3 minutes. It's still quite
just
long.
under 3 minutes.
So much longer than Veritas though. So there's that to consider. But in terms of density and just, I think it functions as a different purpose. It's a more technical beat map. So yeah.
Yeah, it's more of a consistency pick than anything else, really. It does have that slight technical aspect to it, but I think players have been prepared enough by the map pools of the previous stages that it wouldn't be that big of a hurdle to cross.
I think I can full combo this. I think I could. Not judging from what I've seen so far. Maybe. Hard to say though. I mean, it definitely requires a lot of practice, but it doesn't seem like... the density doesn't seem insane enough for it to be, you know, impossible.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from.
And we do see that the player who's playing right now doesn't seem to be struggling too much. He's doing fairly well. So yeah. Anyway, moving on to the next double time map, we have yet another map from Chromox. This time it's Yu UK. Wait, no, sorry, that's I. Oh God, I don't even want to. I don't know how to.
Yeah.
I don't know. The artist is Yu UK. Yeah. So following the theme from Veritas, this is basically Veritas, but ramped up a bit.
This is evil.
This is, yeah, it's just a faster Veritas with more dense streams. So
incredibly. Oh my God. This Mania players in particular should know this song quite well. There's a familiar dump chart of it in the ranked section, but for anybody who doesn't know it, the map is just almost constant streams, essentially, and there's like a dubsteppy technical section in the middle. So seeing this on double time, I can only imagine what a pain in the butt it's going to be with the snapping in the middle section and the stamina outside of the middle section.
Has to be said though, this is the highest SR in the pool of 8.91. So definitely has some difficulty in regards to that. And some of these patterns require really tricky hand switches. Yeah, I can see this one. That a lot of... It's definitely a suicide pick, I think. Not many players can handle 270 VP streams.
Was this meant to be double timed?
Anyway, it has to be said though, the map selector actually did consider trying for another double time pick, perhaps replacing the earlier Universal Ellicott map, and they considered replacing it with Weave Detonator as a double time pick. Now that would have had an SR of almost 10. I believe the SR straight was just under 10 stars, like 9.87 or something. That would have been a truly evil map, but it has a fairly similar theme to what's going on in this map.
Yeah, I'm not sure how often we're going to see IEI picked. I do hope to see it though, just because I'm that mean, but don't get your hopes up. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, also, the map is quite a bit longer than, well, the previous Chromox maps, so definitely a step up from there.
Yeah, that does conclude our double time picks, so now we move on to the free mod bracket. And we start with Ponpon Pomoko Dai Senso, mapped by XNACLX, or I could just call him Salt, I suppose.
NACL. But yeah, Hong Kong mapper. I know this song. It's evil. Enough said. Features. It's kind of like Kowatori and to some extent dopamine. In the middle, it does feature a very dense, tricky section with really weird snappings. And whoever is playing right now, playing with hard rock is generally a good idea because the note spacing is so weird that it would be preferable to read it in a more spaced out layout, I would think.
Well, hard rock is a possibility because this does not have any restrictions on the mods allowed. It's one of the no restrictions free mod picks, so go nuts, hard rock only, sure.
I can almost guarantee no one will play this with hidden. It's stupid to play this with hidden. Like,
yeah, yeah. Looking at the map, I don't see a lot of hidden coming out either. Look at the snapping. Oh boy.
yeah, but with hard rock, the SP does go up to quite high, so there's that trade-off there as well. But yeah, very tricky map indeed.
Right, and so we move on to our second free mod map, which is Grief and Malice by the OS featured artist Hellblind. This one should also be notable to players of Mania, as it has quite a few charts and is quite popular for that. I believe this particular taiko map, though, is a collaboration between Stand and Backfire, as the difficulty name states, and it is another one of those unrestricted free mod picks. So hidden hard rock, or no mod is allowed.
Or both.
Or, yeah, exactly.
So yeah, the map does have its tricky moment. That can be in terms of SP, I would say. But probably objectively the easiest map in the entire pool.
Yeah, I would have to say, knowing Grief and Malice as a song and having seen it charted several times, it's pretty consistent overall with how the background beat works. There aren't really a lot of places where you could insert, for example, tricky 1/6, 1/8, none of that. Fairly consistent backbeat, 200 BPM.
So it's going to be definitely a consistent pick, though.
Yeah,
however,
exactly.
Must be noted that HP is HP 8, so if you're going with hard rock, then that's going to ramp up to HP 10, and that's going to be a real challenge.
Yeah, the map is quite long as well. I believe it's about 4 minutes from start to end. So if you're going to go with hard rock, be sure you know what you're doing and can play it properly. HP on that long of map is not the most forgiving.
You know, I can see players banning this map.
Really? You think
Yeah.
so?
Because if you ban this map, there are no normal picks.
I see what you mean.
So, like, it's all suicide, and it's, like, gonna be, like, battle for the death or something.
That's just... No, I would...
This is the only easy pick. It could be a legitimate strategy.
Maximizer's Torture Chamber, brought to you by Taiko World Cup. Oh dear. I believe the screaming is from Magi Madoka Magica, actually. Just an interesting bit of trivia there.
Yeah, and the background certainly reflects that. Did you just call it screaming?
Well, they're screaming at the beginning is what I meant, not necessarily what's happening in the song right now. The theme also is remixed in near the end, so there's that bit of obvious sense, as if the background and the yelling wasn't enough to smack you over the head with it.
Oh god, this is like Connect from the... Yeah, it's Connect. Okay, so kind of like a remix of sorts. Yeah, well done to Hellblind, who managed to piece this all together. Really good song, actually.
Oh yeah, especially the middle section is my favorite part of the whole bit. But yeah, the end section, mixing it in is quite nice as well. Good touch.
Also, if we look at the time now, like this map has been going on for quite a while.
Yeah, it's about 4 minutes long.
About 4 minutes, so definitely, it's kind of like, I'd say it's along the similar lines along like Embraced by the Flames in the, I believe it was the quarterfinals pool. All mods were available. like just a generally long pick that's kind of stamina, consistency.
Yeah, like a
overall.
consistency pick, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very similar to Embraced by the Flames, I would say. All right, rapidly moving on. We have our final map before the tiebreaker. And it is, I don't know how to read this.
Leituli. I'm just going to call it May. I assume you say Leituli Hard Relinquished Remix, but May is the name of the song, so May is what we'll call it. Mapped by Ryui, it clocks in at around 7.09 stars. And the restrictions on this map, because there are restrictions, is that it can only be played no mod or hidden hard rock.
Here's the theory, what if it's lately?
Yeah, only hidden hard rock, definitely a challenge here. I don't see players going for hidden hard rock. I suspect what's probably going to end up in the majority of matches is that some, I don't know, suicide player going hidden hard rock just do nothing because they can't pass anyways. And then the other two players duke it out on no mod. Probably what's going to happen.
Yeah, what if it's lately?
It could be lately, but I don't know. Seeing the two there, it doesn't seem likely to me.
Oh, just lately.
Lately. Yeah, alright, fair enough.
Can confirm the map is 208 BPM, OD5, HP5, so nothing too demanding on accuracy here. Maybe some people can play with hidden hard rock, who knows? Again, very consistent. It's kind of like a consistency pick. Yeah, just a reading challenge with hidden hard rock. It's the fastest hidden hard rock map we've had so far, pretty sure. Hidden hard rock locked being.
Yeah, like Magno said, I reckon we might see a couple suicide picks, one person from each side taking hidden hard rock, and then the two no mods just duking it out for supremacy. But we could be wrong. I don't want to underestimate any of our players out there. If you can play this with hidden hard rock, Godspeed.
Well, whoever's playing, and that being Mitros, the Spanish player who was eliminated by Germany, I believe. Yeah, so he seems to be perfectly capable of playing this map. So if someone like Mitros, I mean, by no means saying he is a bad player, but like Mitros is a very, very capable hidden player. But if he can play this, I'm certain there are many other players that are left in this tournament who can manage something like this as well.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from with that, and I agree with you. We could actually see this picked a couple times. It is quite a long map, though, nearly 5 minutes.
But yeah,
about 30 seconds less than Pacific Coast. Go on.
But you do see that even Mitros is having a bit of trouble. Like, Mitros is such a talented player, but even he's having a bit of trouble with some of the sections. So it's quite possible that, like, even though Hidden Hard Rock has a 12% boost, quite possible that, like, players are better off doing it no mod.
So you reckon if you have a player who you think might be able to get a good score with Hidden Hard Rock, you think it might be better for them to play it safe on no mod, or for them to just try it on Hidden Hard Rock?
Well, if they can play on Hidden Hard Rock, if they're the only player that can play on Hidden Hard Rock, then obviously they have to send someone forward, and that being them, because a score, as in a pass, is still better than a fail, right?
That's
but
true.
if a team has two players playing, who are able to play this map on Hidden Hard Rock, it may be better to just simply go for Hidden Hard Rock and 2 no mod.
Yeah, I could see that happening. It all depends on confidence and consistency and playability of the map, I think, at the end of the day.
Another thing is that the map itself is almost 5 minutes long.
Yeah,
it's very
the
long.
second longest map in the entire pool, I believe.
Longer than even the tiebreaker, I believe.
Yeah, it is, in fact, longer than even the tiebreaker. Wow. Only map longer than it is Pacific Coast.
Don't really have much else to say about this, but hype up for tiebreaker, because, man, can I tell you, like, you're in for a surprise. Very few people know this map, and I believe it was actually spoiled in the TWC Discord by Sand. So heads up there for anyone who saw the spoiler alert.
Does it count as spoiling if you spoiler a spoiler? I'm just wondering.
I don't know. Yeah, but Sand did get it right. And we are in for a surprise.
Yeah, for those of you who are expecting Galaxy Collapse, I am sorry to disappoint you. Magmamizer, would you do the honors?
So we are playing a Break Big Band backwards. I don't know. Like, I don't actually know. I don't know how to actually say the...
Just call it Break Big Band. I think that's
Yeah.
okay.
This is a Fierce Force. Now, for those of you who don't know, Fierce Force is pretty much the highest tier of beat maps you ever play, succeeded only by Inner Fierce Force. So,
Of course.
yeah, definitely obviously mapped by Fierce 777. He's known for mapping some insanely crazy stuff. Now, initially, the map doesn't look all that challenging. It starts off at a fairly slow 165 BPM until you realize that this map is littered with 1/8 sections.
We've done one more thing quickly.
Sure.
The difficulty name includes TWC version.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that what I said earlier about it would be cool if there was a tiebreaker made for the grand finals. Well, I think I kind of hit the nail on the mistake.
Yeah. This map was uploaded on April Fool's Day, so it was literally made. I believe it was uploaded just for this. I believe the map.
I'm all for this sort of stuff. I mean, it's not a bad idea, really.
Yeah. So very few people actually know this map, and as I was saying earlier, it does contain a lot of 1/8 snaps. So even though it's like it starts off with like a fairly cruising 165, 170 BPM, it ramps up to 340 BPM, and that just makes Galaxy Collapse look like child's play. 340 BPM. It's like, yeah. No real comment here. Just insane map. Good luck to anyone who's playing. Good luck for passing. Let's hope no one actually plays tiebreaker.
What are you on about? Let's hope people play this. Oh, I want to see that. That would be tremendous.
I don't want to hear any news stories of people going to the hospital because of RSI or broken fingers. Yeah, but this map is mapped very closely to the song. So a lot of the I don't know what the technical term is, but like a lot of the electronic sections, I would say, like the maps like as spans, like note spans with 1/8 snappings. Very tricky map. And we're about to enter one of the fastest sections in the map, I believe.
Oh, those jitter streams are just not cool. Goodness me. Well, we'd love to tell you guys that we're joking, but unfortunately it's not the 1st of April anymore, so that ship has sailed. If you are a participant in the tournament, good luck. Tape your hands, you know, don't break your fingers.
I'm looking forward to the finals. I think this is going to be fun.
I wonder who the hell played this?
Oh no,
me.
just, I don't know.
Who played this?
It was Arnar. It was Arnar.
Oh, it was on the second. Alright then.
He's been hiding his true skill all along.
Yes, definitely.
So, Randomizer, as someone who will be playing this lovely map pool,
Yes.
how far away do you plan on running?
How far do you think we'll make it through the tournament?
Or just how far away do you plan on running away from the map pool?
Looking at the map pool, I'm actually familiar with a couple of these maps before actually seeing. I know I can pass at least 2 of the no mod picks, like from past experience. And then with regards to double time, the first double time pick seems fairly doable. Hidden looks pretty impossible, to be honest. Some of the free mods, maybe I could do them on no mod. Kind of defeats the purpose of free mod, though. And
I hope we
tiebreaker,
see Grief and Malice.
tiebreaker looks pretty much impossible.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, our anonymous player, or just like Hito, managed to get an A rank, so I wouldn't say it's impossible.
Well, whoever did this must be the highest order of players, certainly. Yeah.
You know, I think we're in for a bit of a treat. As from a viewer perspective, we are in for a treat next week.
I suspect it could have been Ikaro. Ikaro's been known to do some incredible stuff. Unfortunately, he's out of the tournament. France being kicked out by South Korea earlier today, yesterday. But yeah, Ikaro is definitely capable of pulling off some incredible feats. So I suspect it may have been him.
Yeah, I think it would make more sense as well, because I think it would probably be better to have people help with that sort of stuff who aren't in the tournament anymore.
Yeah.
Especially if you actually go and ask them for replay. Like, I know we've had a few cases where people have grabbed replays from just map rankings that already existed, so...
Do you believe this is the first time we've ever seen a fierce force map in this? And yeah, genuinely scary. I don't think I've ever passed a fierce force map. They're generally very insane.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the... I don't think I've heard the difficult name, so yeah, I would say this is probably one of the first times we've seen it in the TWC. So, definitely something I am welcoming.
Good luck to the 6 teams that remain in this tournament.
And speaking of those 6 teams, don't forget you can throw some support to them. If you still want, there's plenty of time to go over to the Oster and pick up one of those fantastic banners. You guys got yours?
I support no country.
I try not to show my bias either.
If I support my own country, then I'm effectively dooming my own country, right? Because, like, that's like saying we're gonna win. But then if I support any other country, that's like heresy. That's like, I can't do that. I have to support my own country, but I can't. So, unfortunately, as a player,
Every Oswald Cup, I'm just like, nah, screw New Zealand, I'm gonna support someone else. Accept the traitorism. Accept it, embrace it.
One day my country will make it into one of the OS tournaments, I believe.
how long did the banners last for after the tournament?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, if you pick the winning country, you get a little bit of leeway on when it's removed. If you don't, I think you have like a couple days at most. Not sure. Maybe
yeah,
a
I
week.
think the banners are supposed to last for like a few days afterwards, and then the winners maybe a couple of weeks, maybe a month. I'm not entirely sure on the exact numbers.
Yeah, I'd
It's
just
been a
like
bit-
to say,
It's been a little sporadic since the developers have been mostly focusing on laser and stuff.
I just have to say a huge thank you to the Mappools selectors, Onosaki, Hito, and Sayaka, who've managed to compile 80 maps, I believe. It's 5 times 16, right? It's 80 maps
Yep.
in total for all the players participating in this tournament. That is truly a monumental feat. And yeah, definitely does not deserve to go unmentioned. So yeah, huge thank you to our Mappools selectors. And we'll just have to... Their job is now over, but we'll have to see how the players handle this.
Yes, and we will see how they will handle this next weekend. So make sure you tune in for what should hopefully be a very incredible finals for our Taiko World Cup 2017. But for now, I think that will be all from us. So until next weekend, take it easy, and we will see you later.